Good morning. This is Eric. Here I am on a cold morning. I wanted to start a series talking about Walkscape tips. As you know, Walkscape is a game where you walk around in real life and get steps, and then you log into the game and you benefit from it. So I guess there's two categories of tips. There's the gameplay itself, but also, like how to do the skills in the game and all that kind of stuff. But then there's also lots of real life tips that you can use to help you be more productive in the game. But before I start that, I want to show you what I'm doing right now to help me in my grind. This game is all about getting out and walking. It's all about exploring where you are and exploring the land. So I would say my number one tip is find somewhere to walk that's enjoyable. Find somewhere to walk that motivates you. Of course, you can do indoor stepping. Of course, you can do treadmill. Of course, you can do stepping in a spot. But ultimately, this game is built to boost your physical and mental health. And getting outside is a huge part of your mental health. Look at your footwear. I started closed beta with some runners that were nice, but kind of worn down. I was ready for the next pair. And I recently just grabbed a new pair of runners. And I just feel so much more comfortable. Not just that, but I'm it's easier on my body when you have proper foot support. Honestly, listen to your body. A lot of us, when Wave 1 came out, we were very, very enthusiastic, and we still are. But we pushed very, very hard. And there comes a point where you have to say, yeah, I'm itching to progress. I'm itching to keep going. But this is my limit for the day. This is where I have to stop. Maybe my joints are hurting. Maybe you're getting foot pain, whatever it may be. Whatever your point of pain is, take a rest. There's always the next day. If you're going to restart your phone or shut down your phone, make sure you log into the game first and you log in your steps. If you have steps on your pedometer that you haven't tracked in the game, and then you restart your phone, you will lose all those steps. You will not be able to track them into the game. Additionally, if you restart your phone and don't open the game first, the game will not be tracking your steps again. So log in your steps before you restart, log into the game after you restart, and you'll be good to go with tracking your steps again. This could also be an automatic system update. So if your phone updates over the night, it's always a good idea to log your steps first. And if you're aware there was a system update, make sure you open the game before you get going in the real world. For those of you that don't know who are new, this game has a save step feature. What that means is anytime you are not doing an activity and you log into the game and apply steps, it will save those steps in your step bank. What that means is the next time you're doing an activity, let's say for example you have 1,000 steps in your step bank, and you go ahead then and do 1,000 steps of mining. What that means is during those 1,000 steps of mining, it will consume those 1,000 steps in your step bank, and it will treat it as if you have done a total of 2,000 steps. So they just made a really fantastic update to the game where they increased everyone's step bank. It can go much higher than it could before. I'm like at 22,000 right now at level 59 character level. So that's fantastic. The most recent quality of life update, they updated a feature called stop action when inventory is full. In this game, when your inventory goes over your limit, you will take an efficiency penalty. So when you start the game, your inventory is up to 28 stacks. Stacks are generally 25 to 10 items each. If you go over your inventory limit, you will suffer severe efficiency penalties. Up to the point when you're like 4 or 5 inventory stacks over your limit, you're operating at like 1%. So in order for this to never happen, for you to never enter that efficiency, all you have to do when you're doing an activity is to click the little option in the activity screen. It says stop if your inventory is full. What this will do is it will continue until your inventory is full, and then it will collect one more item, and then it will stop your action. At that point, all of your additional steps will go into the step bank, and you'll be able to save all those steps for when you're able to operate at full efficiency because there's no items in your inventory. This tip is an important tip. I've seen this recently on the Discord from people on Second Wave. The question was, do I have to leave the game open and running with the screen on to collect steps? The answer is no, absolutely not. Once you have the game set up with all its proper permissions, you can literally even just kill the game. Like, my point is, you can swipe and close the game and it will still count. Because what happens is, every time the game boots up, it goes back to the walk sensors and it says how many steps have happened in the system since I've last looked for steps. So you can close it, you can open other apps, you can let it time out, whatever you want, and you shouldn't lose any steps. When you start the game, there's a tutorial with Herbert, and he lets you pick a tool. The purpose of that is so that you can get started in a skill right away without crafting, because tools are made by players. There are a couple places to buy tools in shops, but generally speaking, when you get started out, you just want to use the most basic tools, just till you kind of work your way up a little bit. Herbert will give you your choice of your first tool. So I recommend you pick the tool that interests you. Maybe fishing, maybe mining, maybe wood cutting. It's up to you. Herbert also sells a very, very basic set of gear that gives a global efficiency to all the skills. So once you've done a little bit of something, I highly recommend you pick it up. However, when you're looking for gold, because there's going to be a few times you're looking for gold in this game, it's highly discouraged that you sell your gathered resources, like your wood or your coal or your bars or your planks. You're going to want those. Some of the things that you may consider selling are your gems for mining. They can kind of rack up. Or if you really want gold, because like, for example, at one point there's a map that you can buy for 4.5 thousand, and that will give you access to the second region when you want to get out of the snowland. That is 4.5 thousand, and so if you decide, man, I really want to go to the next region, it's a game ultimately. If you want to sell some of your mats, go for it. But I personally was a bit patient, and I sold my gems for mining, and then I sold my end product crafted items. Because if you have a higher rarity of, say, an iron pick, for example, and then you have like 60 lower rarity iron picks, why wouldn't you sell your lower rarity ones? You can do that for gold. That's a great way to do it as well. And the great thing about that method is you don't need to go to the second region until you hit steel. Steel tools is the first time that you're going to need any of the resources from the second region. You're going to need maple planks or maple logs to make into maple planks. So up until iron, if you're going the route of crafting your own tools up until iron, there's no reason to save up that 4.5k to go anyways. Now I know they added more recent content, and so I think some of that might be in there, but for the most part, just be patient and work on your skills, and if you make tools, they're perfect to sell. In this game, gear is king. Skill efficiency is what you get, is one of the things you get from gear, whether that be your tool or gear that drops from chests. So one of your priorities should be looking at your gear and seeing which ones give you efficiency in different tasks and making sure you equip them. You're going to want to run back and forth to the bank, which is in the main town, where it's just to the right of where you start in Disenchanted Forest. And you're going to want to stash the gear you're not using, and you're going to want to equip the gear you need. Especially once you start getting drops from chests or you start getting tools and crafting them, that's something you're definitely going to want to do and equip, because that's going to make you, in some situations, maybe you'll do the task 40% faster. On the topic of items, chests. You are going to get chests that drop from pretty much every activity. Each activity has its own chests that drop as a random chance during every single action you do. And just to tell you, an action is when, for example, if I'm mining Fargonite, I'm at 53 steps per gather of Fargonite ore. So every time you complete an action, every time I do 53 steps, I have a certain percentage chance to get a chest. Inside these chests are a whole loot pool from common to legendary rarity items. And this is part of the dopamine rush of the game. Gathering chests, especially when you're starting out in a skill, because these items that you collect are going to really boost your efficiency. And there's a whole bunch of other stats on the gear as well. Like, for example, a chance to do the action twice instantly. So gear is a very big part of this game. All right, that is the end of my first tip video. I plan to do more. So if you see me on Discord, hit me up with tips. I just asked on Discord and got a whole bunch. So I'll definitely be doing more. But most of all, just enjoy the game.